morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Rick Vavro and Austin Underground. I'm your host, Blake Monroe.
I can't find my gooders, so this is the best I can do. Is the bag
good bags under your eyes?
Yeah, I've lost 2 pairs of gooders, but this is my gooders. Hello, number 1 in baseball.
That's
I can do for you.
That's right. Texas baseball is ranked number 1. But I'm Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every morning by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Folks, be sure to tell us where you're checking in from this morning. Tell us what you're drinking. We'd love to see that. And get your questions in as well. We'll get to as many of those as we can here in just a little bit. We're also going to be joined by Bob Bowman today, Texas men's swimming and diving head coach, along with the swimming and diving director for the University of Texas. So he'll be with us probably in about 10 or 15 minutes or so. But first, guys, let's talk a little football, as it was good news yesterday on the 40 acres. As they get a commitment out of the portal.
Yeah, absolutely. Emmett Mosley, wide receiver from Stanford, finishes last year with 48 catches, 525 yards. Also had, I think what's important to note here, he was a true freshman last year, Jerry, 6'2", 195 pounds, big receiver, true freshman, goes out and puts 48 receptions up. He did that only in the last 9 games of the year. So, literally averaging 5 catches a game was clearly a priority for them. Opposite Alec Anamior, the wide receiver that's going to go in the NFL draft, would have been Stanford's number 1 receiver this year. I just think Texas did a great job. They got a jump start on the portal here, Jerry. He is signed, ready to go, completed. He's going to be a Texas Longhorn. And when I said that, the portal opens officially tomorrow. People are starting to put their names in today. That becomes official tomorrow. But I just feel like there's a couple things we can talk about. One, continuing to build piece by piece. And I wrote that this morning on ontexasfootball.com. How many we see these big step backwards some programs take. Okay. With Georgia, it's been the driving issue, right? With Tennessee, Nico leaves. It's the teams that build and build and build that end up being and able to sustain high-level programs. And to me, Emmett Mosley is indicative of that building process. And what I mean by that is Texas isn't going to lose a receiver as good as Emmett Mosley in this offseason, in my opinion, right? They're building their receiver room. They're growing what you're supposed to do. And I just think that Sark, Brandon Harris, the assistant coaches, et cetera, have all just done a really, really nice job of that over the last 4 to 5 years now. And I think it's going to continue to be the case. I do not think Emmett Mosley will be the last portal entrant or portal signee for the University of Texas in this portal period that begins tomorrow as well. So I really look for a tight end, possibly a couple of defensive linemen. We'll see what that means, who all that might be and what it might look like. But Emmett Mosley is a big pickup. And I read something this morning on Texas football. Somebody, one of our really good posters over there, hashtag, said, well, they couldn't have had to spend too much on Mosley to get him in the boat. I don't think people understand how good he is, Jerry. Like, they're acting like he's just another guy. He's not just another dude.
Now, look, I think, and I'm not saying he's going to be a first-round pick. I'm not saying he's going to run as fast a 40 time as Matthew Golden, but nobody thought Matthew Golden would either until he did. But I will say there's a couple of similarities in the two players. As I watched Emmett Mosley more extensively, they remember before last season we talked about how Quinn Ewers felt the wide receiver he was on maybe the best page with as far as trust where he was going to be was Matthew Golden, and would catch the football at all times as Matthew Golden. And we said this before last season. Emmett Mosley has similar characteristics in that regard. Look, Stanford had bad quarterback issues last year. They played 3 quarterbacks, right? And it doesn't mean Ashton Daniels isn't a good player for them, but they had injury. They fought through a tough season on the field. Their starting quarterbacks threw 16 touchdowns with 17 interceptions last year. So they didn't have really consistent quarterback play around the true freshman wide receiver. But I'll say this. The guy is always where he's supposed to be. He is a super smart wide receiver, an instinctive wide receiver, and he makes tough catches in contested situations around the goal line and on third downs. That sounds pretty familiar. Doesn't mean guys are the same athletes, but there's different ways to get it done. It sounds very familiar. I'm just going to throw that out there. Matthew Golden's second year at U of H before he got to Texas, he averaged 10.6 yards per reception. Did he look like a 10.6 yards per reception receiver at Texas? No. So when you look at Emmett Mosley, say we only averaged 10.9 yards per reception. How fast is he? We're probably about to find out that he's faster than you think.
Great.
And he's going to average 14 yards a catch at Texas. I mean, it's just going to be around better players, a better system, more continuity within that system. Stanford's been going through change. Again, they went through 3 quarterbacks last year. Offensive line wasn't up to the Stanford standards, so they had struggle getting the ball down the field. They had to get it out quick. I just take all that into consideration and realize this guy's a really good player.
That is a great stat. Just a great stat. 10.6 versus 10.9 at Houston for Matthew Golden, 10.9 at Stanford for Emmett Mosley the fifth. The other thing I would say, and we talked about it yesterday, the themes of spring ball, Jerry, and we said that the offense is morphing right now. The pass offense is morphing. I talked to someone this morning. There is no question in that this is a strategic move to bigger wide receivers.
Yeah.
Some level. Okay. And it benefits the quarterback that's going to be throwing to them. Okay. More downfield throws, more 50-50 balls. I'm just telling you that is going to happen. And it's happening for a purpose right now. And I feel like people are missing that part of the equation when you have outside guys like Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley at 6'2", an inside guy, DeAndre Moore, who's not a small guy, by the way.
Or slow.
Yeah. I mean, and so add Parker Livingstone to that match, who's also a good downfield guy. I'm just telling you, I don't think people realize the thought process fully behind what Texas is trying to do at receiver. There's been like some talk about it, but I think it's strategic. And I think it's important for us to recognize it. But I'm a big believer in this player. Anybody that catches 48 passes, that doesn't happen, guys. That as a true freshman. And one more thing I want to mention. I don't know that it's really out there yet, but it's important. He is not unfamiliar. Emmett Mosley is not unfamiliar with Texas players, by the way.
Yeah.
He and Ryan Wingo played on the same California Power 7-on-7 team a year and a half, 2 years ago when they were coming up. So there is some familiarity out there with Ryan Wingo at the very least. Obviously, he's from Southern California. Sark, Johnny Nansen, Jeff Banks, those guys have been recruiting that area for decades and obviously know the family a little bit too. So Emmett Mosley, I think it's a great pickup. And like I said, I think it's a jump start, really, Jerry, to what they want to accomplish. If the more you accomplish early sometimes, especially in the portal, the more you can go to the next thing that you absolutely need. And like I said, tight end, defensive line. Those appear to be priorities for Texas in the portal in the next 48 hours, 72 hours throughout until they get it filled.
And we got a lot of Mosley questions. We'll get to those here in just a little bit. Bobby, but first, will you let everyone out there know about Rick Vavro and Austin Underground?
Yeah, absolutely. Since 2004, Austin Underground has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. Rick Vavro and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. And I want to take this minute to just say thank you very much to Rick. He has been sponsoring On Texas Football for more than a year now, and he has just been tremendous to us. To allow us to be here every morning in front of you guys takes advertisers and sponsors like Rick. And Rick is very gracious, not just to us, but to the university as a whole. And so thank you so much to Rick Vavro and his team over at Austin Underground for their ongoing support of On Texas Football.
Definitely. Okay, guys. Well, yesterday Sark met with the media after practice. We learned quite a bit, actually, but I am going to play y'all a clip where he was talking about who was standing out to him, as we're halfway through, and who was stepping up. So here he is.
A guy that is starting to really show up for us on the defensive side of the ball has been Warren Roberson. He's had an impact for us on special teams here, but now we're starting to see the value of him on the defensive side of the ball. I thought Jelani McDonald showed some really good things. Again, a guy who's grown into that position, has moved, and now has kind of settled in there, has been a real positive force on that front. I think some of our new faces on the defensive front, I think Hero, Canoe, Cole have both been really solid players for us on the defensive front, which has been impressive. And we're getting the best version of Brad Spence right now, too, to throw that into the mix. He's a guy that was a little nicked up when we got him, and he's had to kind of grow into playing at that spot and playing more football. So that's been a real positive. I think on the offensive side of the ball, Amari Winston's been a guy that has shown up and has done really nice things for us at tight end. He showed up the other night. Parker Livingstone continues to play well for us. And I think some things on the offensive line are starting to really show themselves to us too. Brandon Baker's a guy who's a developmental player now in year 2 is starting to show a lot of consistency as well. So a lot of different names. I could talk about a bunch of guys, but those are the ones that kind of pop into my head first.
So we learned quite a bit there, fellas. A lot of names for sure. We're going to circle back to that here momentarily because I think our special guest is here and ready to join us. I'm going to bring him in. Coach Bowman, how are we doing this morning?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
First of all, congratulations, Coach. National champion men's swimming diving team. We were talking about it in the pregame. You've won back-to-back. You were at Arizona State, then decided to come to Texas. You're one of those rare coaches. We were trying to figure this out. When you actually did that, if you're the only person that's ever done that in any major sport or any sport in college sports at all, because just so unique. But congratulations to you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think I'm the only men's coach. There's a women's swimming coach at Texas. Richard Quick did that. He actually won a championship in Texas, and then he went on to Stanford and won his first year there. So I think that's it. But extremely lucky to be in that position. I mean, when you come to Texas, the expectations are you'll do it. So I'm glad we came through for it.
Coach, I always ask this question right off the bat: is every team is different? Doesn't matter your sport, right? What was the special characteristics of this team outside of just their pure talent?
I think we had a really good combination of leadership, senior leadership, Luke Hobson, Kobe Karatza, guys that have been here for 4 or 5 years and were very experienced, and really young, talent that kind of came in. Hubi Kosh, and some of our freshmen are actually quite talented too. I'm super excited about seeing them develop. But I think it was just a great combination of kind of veteran leadership and younger talent.
You take this and take over at Texas. How did that? We have Chris Del Conte on here from time to time. Mm-hmm. He's a pretty good recruiter himself, by the way. It seems like
he is.
How did you get the call? How did you end up at Texas? What went on behind the scenes there to make you move to Austin?
Well, I knew Eddie was retiring, and I never even really thought about the Texas job. I thought I would just I was at ASU. We were doing well. I would just stay there. And probably about 6 weeks before NC2As last year, got the first call from Texas. And, you never turn down tech, right? You know what I mean? So I was like, well, yeah, we'll have the conversation, but I wasn't really sure it was going to go anywhere. But as we kind of got further along in the process, and I started thinking about, kind of where I am in my career, my life, and, how rare this opportunity is, it became a no-brainer by the end that I would come. It's just it's such a privilege and just an amazing place to be.
You mentioned Hubi Kosh. Is he the guy? Or is there guys? We also see those Olympic rings behind you right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that's always cool for us as former Texas grads or Texas fans, you watch the Olympics every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And inevitably, because of you mentioned Eddie Reese, you've seen Texas swimmers reach that pinnacle multiple times.
Yes.
Are there guys on your current team that are going to be in that conversation come the next Olympics, in your opinion?
Absolutely.
That people need to, like non-swimming fans need to know this guy's name when it comes time for the Olympics in 3 more years.
For sure. Well, I mean, we'll go with the obvious ones. Hubie already won the gold medal last time, right? Yeah. And he's only getting better. So he's pretty sure. Luke Hobson won bronze medal in the 200 free and was on a relay, got silver. Chris Giuliano, who is a big part of our success this year, was a gold medalist last time. So, yeah, all those guys are going to be going. But we have a lot of younger talent. You know, we have Rex Maurer. There are a lot of guys who are, kind of, Will Modulin, a lot of people who have the ability to do that. And I think you'll be hearing from them later.
Coach, I know we always got to ask about portal stuff because the portal is absolutely wild in college sports. College football, basketball could be called a disaster in some ways. Yeah. What is it like on the swimming side of things in the portal? I mean, is it much more calmer waters, so to speak, or is there any calm waters in portal land?
Well, it's probably calmer than football. We just got the 2 best guys out of the portal. I can't really comment on them yet because we haven't signed some of them, but you can look that up if you want to. So what I've found in swimming is that it's probably not quite as hectic with top level people, right? There are a lot of kind of mid-level people. And right now, because of the roster cuts and stuff we're facing, we're not going to be adding a lot of, those. So for us, it's been relatively calm, but quite fruitful. And, we had Chris Giuliano out of the portal this year who came in from Notre Dame and really made the difference on our relays. So it's impactful for sure.
Coach, you look at the future of Texas swimming. You feel good about a possible repeat, or is it too early to tell?
I do feel good about it. I think we have a great roster. We're not losing too much. We're replacing it with some very good guys. I know we'll compete for it. Whether we can get there every time, I don't know. But I want to be in the conversation for it, and I'm pretty sure we will be.
I got to ask you because, look, I'm a big historian guy in sports, and so Blake's gonna bring up a photo.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the most accomplished 2 athletes you've ever seen in the photo together?
It probably is.
Michael Phelps and Tiger Woods on 16 at the 2019 Masters when Tiger almost holed it out. But talk about Michael Phelps, how that relationship started, and you coaching the greatest of all time. I mean, you coach the GOAT. I mean, it's a pretty amazing to be able to talk about that and have on your resume.
Sure. I guess it was like 1997. I was coaching in Baltimore, North Baltimore Aquatic Club, and kind of just in a regular reshuffling of the groups and stuff on the team, there was this 11-year-old kid came into my group, Michael Phelps, and we knew he was good, right? Obviously, he was the best age group swimmer around. So we got started when he was really young, and it's been kind of an amazing arc because I don't think many swimmers and certainly many athletes stay with a coach for 20 years, but we were together that whole time. So we went from a young boy and basically his teacher to the greatest of all time and working together, kind of his partner. And now we're still very close. I mean, his kids call me grandpa and I go there all the time, right? So we're like family now. So it's been an amazing journey with him because he not only changed the sport of swimming, but he just kind of changed everybody's mind about what excellence really is, right? And he kind of defined that over a long period of time, consistently.
Yeah, he was not good just one time. It wasn't just like a 1-year period where he was great. That question for you before we let you go, and thank you so much, and congratulations again, Coach. I hope everything continues going well for you. When we have Coach Chris Del Conte on, and we have other coaches on, they talk a little bit about how they feel the tug of Texas athletics as a whole, kind of working together, coaches feeling some camaraderie there because they're all of you guys. I mean, they've just done a nice job. I mean, Texas isn't just good in swimming. They're good in softball. They're good in I mean, they're just good, right?
Yeah.
What can you kind of explain how you feel and what that makes you think of as a coach as you look across the aisle and there's Steve Sarkisian in the semifinals, or there's Jim Schlossnagle now with the number 1 ranked team in baseball? What does that do for you from a coaching perspective? Is it invigorating or motivating or what have you?
Absolutely. The first text I got when I took this job was Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, wow.
Welcoming me to the Longhorn family. And, we go to these head coaches meeting every month and everybody is there. Sark, everybody. Jim Schlossnagle came in with me, right? We did the orientation together. So you kind of get to know these guys. And when you go to a head coaches meeting at Texas, I feel pretty good now because I got a championship, because you kind of want to have one to fit in, right? It's like the level is so high, and so many of these people have already won championships at Texas or will, that I think it does. The rising tide lifts all the boats, right? So when you go, anything that happens in this building, I'm in the north end zone right now where most of our people are headquartered, certainly the Olympic sports. We're all kind of pulling for each other, and you kind of see each other in the hallway and say, hey, great game last night. Let's keep it going. All those things. So it's definitely a motivating factor for me and something that's very special about Texas.
So this is my last question, and this is the most important question of the interview. When Vic Schaefer gets a big win, he goes to Capitol Grill. What's become your go-to restaurant in Austin? Where do you go celebrate lighting the tower orange? What is it?
Man, this is going to be so bad. Whataburger.
That's the winner. You just won the chat. You're now the most.
I literally won the championship. I came home and got a Whataburger. That was it. That's my reward.
That's
Dr. Pepper float, baby. Thanks, Coach. Hey, you have a great one, and congratulations again, and best of luck as you move forward with your program. And we'll be checking in with you from time to time, man. Congratulations.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Way to light the tower.
Talk to you.
Yeah, good stuff. Love it. He's a good guy, man.
He's already everybody's favorite coach now. When you say Whataburger to celebrate a title, man,
you can't get more Texan. You cannot get more Texan than that.
He just rose to the top. All right, Sark's got some work to do. Everybody, Sean Miller, everybody's got some work to do now.
Yeah, we need to get Sark eating that fancy ketchup from Whataburger is what we need to do.
By the way, well, I didn't even get a chance to ask him about Leon Marshawn, but I mean, he's the next great, right, coming up in the world, or probably is. So I think he's in Austin and trains with a coach right now, but he's going to have 2 of the greats on his resume.
Yeah. Cool. I love it because, the thing that we talk about, Jerry, with all these coaches that whether it's Jared Elliott or any of these guys, they just he said it, the rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
And he's right. And I think that kind of collegial motivation, it's almost like you're in a business. If you're in a business and I don't know, you're working in the executive offices of Amazon, and Amazon Web Services is making $1 billion a year, and the other part of it is making $1 billion a year. It's like a competition to do the best you possibly can to hold up your end of the bargain. At the same time, you cheer the other people on. And I think that's what's going on at Texas right now. It's just really healthy, I guess, is the best way atmosphere in this building.
Look, and I'll tell you this. I know Texas has a ton of talent in swimming. It's obvious. But I don't care how much talent you have. When you go through a coaching change, it's one thing. When you go through a coaching change of, maybe the most legendary coach in the history of the sport, the college level, retires. I don't care if the guy you brought in just won a national championship. There's a transit and has a great resume. There's a big transition there. And to go out, and I know they're very talented, but to go out and actually get it done right away, I think speaks to his ability to communicate, because you have to communicate with guys in different ways. Everybody's not the same. We talk about it all the time in football. You can have an audio learner versus a visual learner. You have to learn your team, and you have to communicate and connect with those guys. And to go get it done, I don't care how much talent you have. The most talented teams don't always win. But it shows great communication skills as well with him and understanding of his athletes and being able to probably teach and communicate in different ways with different guys.
And just from the sounds of it, it didn't sound like he had any plans on sloughing off next season. He mentioned a couple of portal guys he thinks he might be able to sign, etc. So good luck to him as he goes through that process. Let's go back to what Steve Sarkisian had to say, because I think that was an important comment. He mentioned a number of different players, started off with Warren Roberson, Jerry, then also mentioned a couple of the defensive linemen, Hero Canoe, Cole Brevard. He said Brad Spence, another transfer, starting to really show some things out of Arkansas. What was your takeaway from what Sark had to say there?
Well, we had mentioned it on here a few times that Brad Spence was limited in winter workouts after he's a little banged up after the season. I think he's always going to be underrated as a player, as a pickup in the portal until he's not through his play on the field. Because D-line was such the focus, right, in the portal. But Brad Spence is a NFL prospect with SEC size and pass rush ability. And his addition, I think, is a huge one to this team because it gives you more SEC size, versatility at the linebacker position, another quality pass rusher. I think he had 4.5 sacks last year, had an interception as well, played really well against Texas. So he's always going to be not talked about enough until he's forced to be by the Texas fan base through his play. But that was a really big portal pickup because it added more SEC size and playmaking at the linebacker position. But then I think maybe most important was Cole Brevard and Hero Canoe. We know Travis Shaw, they've kind of held him out like they did Jermaine Lole last year, kind of make sure he's healthy, doesn't have too much on that knee, which he's had some minor issues with from North Carolina. But to hear Brevard and Canoe is really good news for Texas, because I stand by what I've said. I think they're going to be better on the interior against the run next season than they were this past season. But I think they need a disruptor to come through in the portal to give them some of that disruption from a 3-tech, maybe a versatile 3-5 at times. But I think these guys are going to be really good against the run on the interior. The guys
that is crazy to me because I just don't see that. I mean, you lost not only Alfred Collins, but Bill Norton, Jermaine Lole. Those guys, Lole and Norton were good against the run generally, Jerry. I mean, maybe you're right. And I hope you are, obviously. But my bigger piece on it was what Sark called his developmental guys, of that commentary that he had, Jerry and Blake. He was talking about how guys like Warren Roberson, Jelani McDonald, he mentioned, are guys that are taking that next step up, and how important those guys are in the team or for the team. I was talking to someone this morning about it. You know, Trey Wisner is a guy that you think of, man, he just had a great season. Do you really think of him making another step up? But they're saying behind the scenes that he absolutely is. He's taking it to another level. And so I look at the Texas roster right now from a football perspective, and just they've got a lot of those guys. I mean, he didn't list 2 or 3 players there, Jerry. He listed 10 to 15.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just like it was, oh, we've got this one guy that we're looking at. You know what I mean? And that just goes back to those themes that we talked about earlier this week. They are a talented team. They're a little young. And so that development is happening before their eyes right now. So that's...
I would say this, and again, portal opens, I guess, at 11:59 p.m. tonight. Is technically, so 12:01 a.m. on the 16th. But I would say this: a lot of people have asked what positions will they go to in the portal. I think we can, unless something unexpected happens, I think we can knock out running back.
Oh yeah,
because look, Trey Wisner continues to ascend. Christian Clark looks good coming off his injury. And James Simon's been really, really good, as we kind of thought he'd be, because he's way ahead of the game and he's a very good football player. So I think James Simon and Christian Clark, what they've seen from them in the spring, along with knowing you'll get Cedric Baxter back early in the season, and you have Jarrett Gibson going to the sophomore year with Trey Wisner, I think I think Texas will probably stand pat at running back, and that's what we talked about going into this. If Texas doesn't go after a position, which we kind of talked about, will they or won't they? That means they love what they saw from their guys. Bottom line, they love what they saw from their young kids, and if they really like those young guys at positions, they're not going in the portal. So it's going to be true needs. So tight end, right? Defensive line, interior, a disruptor. They got him at Mosley at wide receiver. So we'll see. But I think running back is one we can move on from unless there's an injury the second half of spring.
Or people are asking, Phil McIntosh is one of the guys also asking about Jaden Ott, running back from Cal. I think he had a 1,000-yard season either last year or year before last. Yeah. He's announced he's entered the portal because Cal is in free fall right now, basically arguing over who should be running the football program, their GM Ron Rivera or their head football coach Justin Wilcox. I'm being told Texas is not really looking at running back for the exact reasons Jerry just stated. Trey Wisner is definitely taking a next step. Cedric Baxter is expected to return. And then you have a situation where they really like some young guys. So unless a high-level player calls them and says, I really want to go to Texas, running back is not a priority in the portal for them right now. So tight end, defensive line is where I'm looking at right now. Those two positions, and actually not just defensive line, but edge even, because you got to remember right now, Jerry, not only is Colton Vasek out with another injury, but Zena Umeozulu is out with a thumb injury. So they're playing two freshmen at outside on second team at times right now with the move of Trey Moore to linebacker. So we'll see what happens. I just don't think they're going to go after, based on what I've been told, they're not looking hard in the portal at running back at this point. Never say never, but I don't think that the Cal guy is going to do it for them.
They're getting a lot of OU comments on Jaden Ott, the tight end. OU going all in this year. If OU don't go all in this year, the coach is fired. So
yes.
They have no choice.
Very true. Okay, guys, before we move on, I'm going to let everyone out there know about one of our sponsors today, and that's Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. They're the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Georgia, and right here in the great state of Texas. And right now, you can cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. And you can mix and match player projections from different sports as well. It doesn't just have to be basketball, but you can combine your favorite basketball players with players from baseball, hockey, esports, and a whole lot more. And it's Tuesday, which means it's a Prize Picks promotion day. Every Tuesday, Prize Picks will discount several projections on the board, usually by 15 to 25%. And I am taking advantage of that today. I am selecting Tyler Hero to have more than 19.5 points, Trae Young to have more than 10 assists, and Jimmy Butler to make at least one three-pointer. So I invite you to come join me in those picks or go make your own. Download the app today. Use code ONTexas to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. They're going to give you $50 after your first $5 lineup. Just head to the App Store, download the app today, use code ONTexas when you sign up to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks. Run your game.
I felt bad for you. I like all these picks, Blake. I felt bad for you last night when Paul Skeens had 6 strikeouts.
Oh, my gosh.
What was number 7?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I like the basketball picks.
I appreciate that, Jerry.
I do Tyler Hero's he's going to volume shoot it enough to get 19 and a half.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, will you tell us about Mando, Jerry?
Yeah. You see behind me what they call it, the bundle, the Grundle bundle back here. You got your Manscaped, your Joy Mode, and let's talk about your Mando now. Let's get your Grundle smelling better. What is Mando? It's a whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere on your body, your pits, your balls, thigh folds, belly button, butt cracks, and feet. We need to do this read right when Tony Hills comes on tomorrow, by the way. Created by a doctor who saw, because he thinks it's funny, who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. That's who created Mando. That's what you want to hear. Clinically proven to block odor all day for up to 72 hours, or a weekend baseball series in College Station or Norman, even though A&M starting the ball. Mando deodorant product options are solid stick deodorant, formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts, spray deodorant, aluminum-free, and ideal for those hard-to-reach places. All products are baking soda-free and paraben-free. Choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, or my favorite, Pro Sport. Most important part of the read. So we are happy here. Clinically proven to control odor better than a soap with shower alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's Grundle odor level was 5 out of 10. Whoop, whoop, not good. With Mando, the average Grundle odor level is 0 out of 10. Tremendous, yay. Want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now? You can find them at Walmart, Target, and other retailers across the country. For the very best deals, shop Mando.com. And when you go to shopmando.com, you can get $5 off your starter pack with our exclusive code on Texas, all caps. That's 40% off your starter pack at shopmando.com. Take care of your Grundle and have your Grundle bundle.
It's a Grundle bundle. Thank you,
That's
Jerry.
Bobby Petronic. I did not come up with that. That's all Bobby Petronic. I stole it from him. Sorry, Bobby.
All right. Well, more to talk about before we get to some questions, guys. And let's start with basketball. As Jerry, I know you have a couple things there.
Yeah, so we got an updated roster. Lassina Traore went public with his commitment yesterday. 6'10", 240. Transferred from Long Beach State to Xavier. Was one of Xavier's, was going to be one of their top 3 players, 3 or 4 players last year. Then he hurt his knee in October, right before the season. So the 6'10", 245-pounder makes it public. I think this had been done for a while, that he was going to go to Texas. He was on his visit last Friday, Saturday to Texas. So this is Texas' current 10-man roster, 3 spots to go. As you see, Sean Miller has addressed the interior presence on the team immediately with Matas, who I think will be an NBA prospect in 2 seasons, and Traore. That is a really good center combination. Also gives you the ability to play big. Then you have your young bigs coming in that are in the program, Nick Cody, Jamie Vincent, plus John Clark coming in. So you have depth there. Texas likes those young kids, what they can become. So we'll see which one of those guys are 2 steps up. But then you also have, this is a 4th portal pickup. You have Camden Heidi, who's on his official visit to Texas right now. He posted a photo from inside DKR yesterday, walking around on the football field. 6'7", very athletic, plays above the rim, but shoots it at 39.5 from 3. And then Dalen Swain was the first guy that Sean Miller went after, the Xavier transfer, the one they felt like they had to get, even over Ryan Conwell. I think the thought is Dalen Swain is going to end up being an NBA first-round pick in a year or 2, depending on how much he ascends this year. So Texas's roster has a lot of length, a lot of size right now, and what is left, they're going to be very patient for this last combo guard spot, and then I think they could take another guard as well. But this one combo guard spot, and they're recruiting the world. This is a global recruitment. And this is a global basketball program now. This is not just about portal. This is about recruiting around the globe. I think they're really in on a couple of guys. We'll see if those guys come to the States to play college ball or if they just go pro. And I'm talking maybe potentially NBA here. So they're in on the right guys. You just got, if they pull one of those off, that they're going to be very good. And this is a team that's already been ranked in way too early, top 20, top 25. Type areas. That was before Traore. But Sean Miller had called Traore the most improved player in the program. And Sean Miller's really, this is a player development program they're going to be very, very good in this regard. Every college coach I've talked to, that's one of the things they respect most about Sean Miller is his ability to develop players. But Traore was called before that knee injury the most improved player at Xavier last year. And I think the thought was they would have been a Sweet 16 team if he hadn't got hurt. That's the type of impact they thought he was going to have. So Sean Miller's done a really good job in the portal. Got a couple of spots left to fill. I think one will be a major minute combo guard player. And if they get one of those guys that's in that 6'3", 6'4" range that can shoot it and can facilitate a little bit, they're going to be really good in year one. I hope it's a 2-year player.
Okay, and then it's also worth mentioning, Jerry, yesterday we broke the news that Texas women's basketball got a commitment from FAU center Lovisa Asprey-Coase, and more visitors expected on campus this week.
Yeah, so Vic's got I think a starter level power forward player that averaged 11 and 7, Cunningham out of Arizona, really good player. And then a bench piece that can stretch the floor, shoot it a little bit from three. I saw her on her official visit. We were down around Moncrief. Her and her family were walking around taking photos. She's a legit 6'5", the girl from FAU, legit 6'5". I don't know if she's 6'6", because you'd have to get up there and actually take the measuring tape of that. But she's a legit 6'5". But she's going to be I think a good piece for them off the bench that'll fight for rebounds, that can stretch the floor and shoot a little bit. The girl from Arizona, I think, will be a starter and major minute player.
Yeah,
Bria Cunningham.
And yesterday you were on the road, Jerry, doing a little recruiting action yourself. What'd you say?
Yeah, I went to the real home of champions, Carthage. Obviously, we've had Coach Surratt, a friend of mine, on the show. So I took a few videos. Sorry about the sun angle, man. It was indoor, and they had everything open. This is KJ Edwards running some routes, and he's about 194 pounds out. You're going to see this 6 on a couple of them. That is a junior receiver for Carthage. Going to be junior receiver that I think he's a lay down power 4 player. That kid's very good. But you see KJ Edwards here, and this is kind of what we've talked about with KJ Edwards. And I think KJ Edwards is a Texas lean, but does it mean it's over? No. But at 5'9", about 192, 194 pounds right now, really good out of the backfield. He's a 3-down back because Scott Surratt demands and teaches pass pro of his running backs. And, they split him out. They use him in the slot. These guys are complete backs when they get out of Carthage. And he's put on good weight. He's probably put on 10 pounds since last season. But a guy that I think Texas has a really good shot at. We're going to have about a 10-minute interview coming up today on Texas football with him, from my sit down with him, where he talked about talking to Chad Scott for the first time, what him and Sark talked about, his overall vibe with the Texas program, and that. And his official visits are coming up are SMU, Texas on the June 6th, 8th, Texas A&M the 13th through 15th, Baylor the 20th through 22nd. Colorado's trying to get him in May as well. So that would be the 5th team. But I think Texas is in a pretty good spot, but we'll see where it goes. I think he sees himself as a really good fit in the Texas offense as a running back who can do multiple things. So you'll get to hear more from KJ later on today.
Blake, do us a favor and put up some KJ Edwards highlights.
I am on it.
While we maybe talk a little bit more about recruiting in general. Jerry Gaston Grammatica, the kicker from Tampa, the son of Bill Grammatica, the former NFL kicker, was in Austin yesterday. That seems to be the guy that Texas has circled at kicker in this upcoming recruiting class. Devon Benjamin, one of the nation's top safeties, is expected on campus tomorrow. Yeah. He's out of Oaks Christian. He's also a reclass guy, right, Jerry? Which is like one of 4 or 5 reclass guys that Texas has been after, including Mark Bowman out of Mater Dei, the tight end, and Xavier Crowell, the running back out of Alabama. What else is going on in recruiting generally right now? And then I know they're having people on campus for high school recruiting at this point. Is there another big weekend coming up? Is it this weekend? Is it next week? It's Appreciation Day. What is it?
It's Fan Appreciation Day. But I will say this: Caden Finley's scheduled to come in for a day and a half this weekend. So kind of fitting around that. At least that was as of last week, and I think that is going to remain the case. That he's scheduled to come in this weekend. You have some guys trickling through. Luke Waffle, just kind of depending on when you travel. When you can travel, maybe around a later spring break or a holiday type of situation. But we've added 3 new official visitors. I just posted the updated official visitors list for June on ontexasfootball.com before the show. 43 official visitors right now, and that number is going to get up to 50. But so Dre Quinn coming off the weekend visit is June 13th through 15th. We expect that to be when he makes his official visit to Texas. That's the edge out of Greater Atlanta Christian in Norcross, Georgia, which Texas staff has some really tight connections over there. Dre Quinn's one of the top edge prospects in the country. And then there's Hayward, the junior, the corner out of Edna Carr in New Orleans. His OV will be June 6th, coming off his unofficial visit, which he loved last weekend. Him and his family loved that. So he's got an official visit set up. And then one that is going to be June 22nd through 23rd, which will butt up right next to when that dead period begins. Valden Sohn, and this is a new one. Valden Sohn, the 4-star plus. I think he's top 100 level kid in the country. The D lineman out of originally from Sweden that is now at Blue Ridge School in Virginia is going to officially visit June 22nd, 23rd, right after his Oklahoma visit, OV, which will be, I think, the 19th through 21st. So another D lineman that'll be officially visiting. Then the April 26th weekend will be big on the defensive front too for unofficial visits. I said a little bit of that yesterday. There's a list on ontexasfootball.com on that, but there's going to be 4 or 5 top D line prospects in the 26th cycle that will be in town April 26th.
Good stuff. Okay, Bobby, if you'd be so kind to let us know about Mint Mobile.
Yeah, before we get to y'all's questions and finish out this show, I want to say thank you to Mint Mobile. Do you say data or data? At my house, we say data. And for the longest time, I thought paying a fortune on my monthly data plan was just normal. That was until I found out about Mint Mobile and their premium wireless plans that start at just $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data or data, your choice, and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number with you along with all your existing contacts. I was able to do this with my daughter, which was really helpful from a financial standpoint. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless from Mint Mobile for just $15 a month. Again, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number over. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. No matter how you say it, don't overpay for it. Shop data plans at mintmobile.com/OnTexas. That's mintmobile.com/OnTexas. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer only for the first 3 months. Then full price plan options are available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Thank you, Mint Mobile, for sponsoring On Texas Football.
And Jerry, if you'll tell us about Gooder.
I can tell you about Gooder. I lost my Gooders, but I have going to get more Gooders. Why Gooders? They're stylish sunnies, starting only $25 a pair. See here, I had 2 packages of them. I lost them both. 1 year free warranty, 30-day free returns, lightweight and comfortable, 100% polarized, no slip, no bounce, from vibrant color to sleek styles. They're a pair of Gooders for every personality, designed for both everyday wear and active individuals that love to run, hike, bike, and much more. I'll be wearing them. I got to find them. I know where they are. I know my kid. I'm going to the beach this weekend for a little beach volleyball tournament, I think. So I may be wearing my Gooders out there, maybe on a hike, maybe if you're playing pickleball with the Burtons, on a run, cycling, whatever you do, golf course, because they're so affordable. You don't have to worry about losing or breaking them. You can have a pair for every occasion. If you need a new pair of sunnies, Gooder is giving On Texas Football listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/OnTexas, all caps, and use that code OnTexas for free shipping.
There you go. Thank you, Jerry.
Those are classy. Jenny made me get her those.
They're hard to find.
Yeah.
Hard to find. I think they're still sold out online last time I looked. So you gotta get them around the stadium there in Austin at this point. So yeah, people are asking, are they back in stock? They weren't last time I looked on there, which was just a couple of weeks ago. But maybe now. You never know.
I'm checking. I think we have a little news here. I'm checking the recruiting calendar for basketball. Hold on. Let me see here.
We're waiting with bated breath, Jerry.
No, go ahead. No, so I think I was just told that Sean Miller will be hitting the road this week, seeing some top kids, top 2026 prospects. So, and you know that stop number 1 will be Austin Gooseby and Melissa. So Sean Miller will be making his first visits to high schools, seeing some top 2026 guys this week.
All right, guys, it's time to get to y'all's questions and comments and everything in between. And we're going to start here with the super chat from Drew. Thank you, Drew Lockhart. He says, good morning, OTF. Week 1 in Columbus. Do we have a kickoff time? Noon on Fox, night game? Thanks, guys, and hook 'em.
We think it's going to be big noon kickoff. I mean, kind of like they did with Michigan last year, guys. That's the proverbial thought, or the prevailing thought, I should say. I can't see why they would. Look, I think it would be better as a primetime night game like it was at the Shoe when Vince went in there and beat up on the Buckeyes. But I think that given that Fox has the rights to this game and negotiated the rights to the game, I think they're going to use it to fill their marquee spot of that 11 a.m. kick. By the way, I don't know if y'all saw this, Jerry and Blake and everybody else, but Big Noon Kickoff made a play this offseason to have Reese Davis, the host of ESPN's Game Day, move over to Fox. And Davis earlier this week decided to stay with ESPN. So Fox Big Noon Kickoff's trying to become the equal of ESPN, and it's just not because it's not a full-on sports network. But they do a decent job. Hopefully Texas treats them just like they treated Michigan and on an 11 o'clock start. So that's the important part.
Well, never mind. I had something I was going to say, but it's probably out of line.
Okay.
I was going to say they could pull Corso over. He would not know the difference.
Oh, geez, Jerry. My God. The guy. Good. Come on.
Oh my gosh! Between comments in the chat right now, I can't quit laughing. So
be kind, Jerry. Be kind.
Well, moving on.
I love him.
We got some more super chats, guys, that we got to get to. And we're going to do just that. Sean, we appreciate your super chat. Appreciate you. Bigger concern: interior D line, tight end, or wide receiver?
I don't think wide receiver is a concern anymore. You've got 3 guys that have caught passes in Wingo, Moore, and Mosley now. So tight end, I'm not concerned. Plus, you have good backup. You got Livingstone. That's another guy that Steve Sarkisian mentioned yet again yesterday. Tight end is a concern for me because you have not a single catch and you don't have many reps. The interior defensive line is a concern for me because I think that's always going to be a concern because of the league you play in. So I don't know. That's why when I say they could take 1 or 2, I don't know that there's anything other than that. I don't know that you'll ever have enough at defensive tackle in this league ever. Yeah. So it's a ongoing concern. But I think from an acute standpoint, like an acute injury standpoint, I think it's tight end right now because you want somebody there for Arch Manning that's caught the ball. You just do to accentuate what you're trying to turn the offense into right now. Doesn't mean that's not a negative on Spencer Shannon or Jordan Washington. They just don't have the play time.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that goes. And Jordan right now injured still. So.
And our next super chat comes from our friend Jack. And Jack, I hope I pronounced this correctly here. But Jack says, today is my grandson, Anthony. Is it? Oh, I asked him to clarify if it was Anthony or Anthony. Either way, happy birthday to him. He's turning 10 and is a medal winner in multiple karate competitions. And he knows how to hook them.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
I was going to say on the portal, what'll be interesting is for me is, interior D line, it's always a question of the level of guys that are going to jump in. And if there's only 2 or 3, then they're the most leveraged spot outside of quarterback in the portal, right, Bobby, as far as from an NIL perspective. So those are the biggest battles. You can never have too many, and that's why everybody thinks the same way on that. And that's what gets interesting. We went through it with Dominic Williams last year. So if there's 2 or 3 guys that are deemed to be only 2 or 3 guys that are that level player, then everybody's going to be going after those guys. And so those have become high leverage recruitment. So it'll be interesting to see how many guys on the interior defensive line jump in the portal. Because again, if it's slim pickings, that means the price is way up.
And then Slick Rick with Super Chat said, Sark said Winston's making strides and being taxed, learning 2 positions, and is highly intelligent. Is he on breakout watch for this season?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, a lot of that has to do with what's available right now at tight end too, though. So you have to manage that, manage those expectations. But the very first practice, Jerry and I saw it, and we talked about it immediately following that practice. Amari Winston is who you're talking about. He has excellent hands.
Yeah,
he snatches the ball as clean as a receiver. Okay, so he has that ability. The question I have right now at tight end is there's not enough competition. So you don't know. It's like you're working in this lab and it's like there's no control subject. It's just what you're seeing results and you don't really have anything to compare it against other than previous knowledge of what Gunnar Helm or JT Sanders looked like, really. And so I think that it's nice that he's coming on. What does that really mean? I don't think we're going to know until they get another guy from the portal or until spring or fall camp when Jordan Washington is back with the team as well.
All right, and then our next super chat, let's see here, is from Beard. And Beard says, Blake, not looking forward to playing UTRGV tonight. Only one day off after that 3-game rock fight at Kentucky has me concerned. Your thoughts? I'm with you. They're 35 in RPI. They're a good team, 25-10 overall. We've seen Texas lose to them before. Not saying that's going to happen tonight, but after the battle, as you said, in Lexington, and then you're hosting a top 10 Auburn team this week. I mean, you're kind of in between a rock and a hard place. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, especially pitching wise. They're going to want to save as many arms as possible for this weekend. But yeah, it should be a good one. Hopefully Texas comes out on top.
Yeah, without knowing their ballpark and the way the wind blows, UTRGV puts up really impressive offensive numbers.
Hey, I just want to say this: that campus is doing a good job.
Yeah,
they're pretty impressive. I mean, for those of people that join us from the Valley every morning, pretty impressive stuff overall that's going on down there.
Yeah. And one other super chat, this one from Jeff Carey. Can the Alumni Consortium hire a marketing/rep firm to assist with player NIL?
They already have, Jeff. That's what Texas One does. They have a marketing rep firm. The university actually has one as well with IMG. So they're already involved in all of that. I mean, it goes much deeper than just X amount of dollars and this player comes to Texas, et cetera. They've done a nice job. Texas One Fund's done a nice job. University of Texas has done a nice job. Is it perfect? No. No one is perfect in this world of ever-changing structures. But I feel strongly that the leadership at Texas and the leadership at Texas One and the donors in particular have worked with the right people at Texas and the right coaches at Texas, et cetera, to make it the best they can. That third-party rep firm is part of that. For example, there's going to be a big donor benefit concert, I believe, in May. Again, they had it last year. They're going to do another one this year to benefit NIL at the University of Texas. So all of those things are happening. We'll see what it all means, but I'm impressed with what Texas has been able to pull off, and the proof is in the pudding. Frankly, Texas has definitely been a net winner from the portal over the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay, let's see here. We have quite a few questions. We're going to go back to what we opened with the new portal edition. Bobby Petronic wants to know, how does the new portal wide receiver compare to Golden?
Jerry, you tried to make that comparison somewhat, in that he is a reliable guy, which I think is part of what we've been talking about. Reliable hands guy, reliable route runner, wants to be great, will likely talent maximize. That's the one thing about guys that come out of high school early and succeed early. They are very likely on a talent maximization path. This kid, Emmett Mosley, is a talent maximizer. So I don't know if he's going to be a first round pick. He's likely an NFL player. Okay. So Golden making himself into a first round pick, I don't know if he has that level of talent. I mean, I think that remains to be seen, but I think he's the same kind of, okay, I'm going to get here and I'm just going to go to work kind of guy, because that's what he was at Stanford. And he succeeded there.
Yeah, look, I think there's a couple of real key similarities based on, tape study, and I think it won't surprise. I don't think it surprised any of us when we start hearing, "Oh, Arch Manning really trusts what this guy's doing with his routes, his timing, where he's going to be. Oh, and that he's a really good player in the red zone." If you look at what he did at Stanford, you see similarities there. That guy was sitting in the zone. He was running crisp routes. There was trust there. And he's a true freshman playing on a team that had quarterback injuries, kind of went through 3 quarterbacks at various points. And you can see it if you watch his highlight tape. There's 3 different quarterbacks throwing him the football last year as a freshman who played in 9 games. But he made difficult body control catches in the red zone. He made really difficult contested catches to move the chains. And what he did is he understands how to use his body almost as a rebounder in basketball. And I think he's a physical kid, strong body kid, but he knows how to position himself and, more importantly, keep a defender from getting over his back to make a play on the ball. So there's some similarities in, and I'm not saying speed-wise, but we didn't really know Matthew Golden. I mean, Matthew Golden ran at a 10.8 in high school. Nobody saw really 4.29 coming with him. So I'm not saying Mosley's that fast, but I am saying there's similarities in route running, hands, red zone ability, and key catch ability. It won't surprise when we hear in August that Arch Manning really trusts where this guy's going to be on the football and when he's going to be there.
Jerry, total non sequitur. I can't remember what you told me. Matthew Golden is originally from Tampa before he moved to Houston. Is that right?
Yeah, he was St. Petersburg.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Total non sequitur, doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
Somebody asked me the other day that he was a move-in, and I knew it was Florida. I just didn't know where.
Yeah, he moved in, I believe, in 7th grade or maybe 8th grade from Tampa, St. Pete area.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
He grew up right down in the same. I think he would have gone to the same high school Amari Niblack went to if he had stayed in St. Pete.
Okay,
I don't think they knew each other growing up. I could be wrong on that.
Okay, King Kunto wants to know, will Trey Moore be used more like Jalen Walker from Georgia last year? And who do we see as the starters for the NASCAR package?
Woo! Wouldn't you like that? I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be a race car.
Yeah.
We've had a NASCAR package before that looked more like a Toyota assembly line. I think it's going to be a true NASCAR package. Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke, Anthony Hill. I mean, is Ethan Burke even in there if you have Anthony Hill and Brad Spence and Trey Moore?
the young guys like a
You move
Justice
Burke.
Terry.
You move Burke inside,
Yeah. Or Justice Terry.
or Justice Terry at a 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And now on the Jalen Walker, use like potentially the same player. No, Jalen Walker's a great player. Great player.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Walker is going to be an all-pro.
That's not a knock to Trey Moore.
Right. Not a knock to Trey Moore.
Yeah.
It's just Jalen Walker's a really rare guy. But used a similar at times. I could see that for sure. I think Brad Spence could be as well. I just think, look, Texas has the best, a youngster that's having a good spring. I've heard is Bo Barnes. There's a lot of really good older players in front of him, and you have Anthony Smith and LaFau. I'm going to stay on record. It's the best group of linebackers Texas had in a long time, man.
Hey, I got to be honest. Somebody just brought this up, and I'm going to talk to Rod about it because Rod is, I think, one of the guys that labeled it the NASCAR package.
He is.
Okay. Well, we need to get him to change it to F1.
Yeah,
that's more fitting with these days in the circuit of Americas over there. We need to do that.
Definitely.
I'll see if I can't influence Rod a little bit on that.
All right, Bobby, before we get to our last couple questions of the day, I'm going to let you tell everyone out there about Austin Underground one last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friend Rick Vavro, I mentioned him earlier, and he has just been so good to our program here and made coffee and football possible. Since 2004, his company, Austin Underground, has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. His engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. You see all those high rises going up downtown. Well, there's work to be done underneath the ground to get ready for them. Rick and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. Rick's an entrepreneur at heart. He also has a bar out in Jonestown. Stop by one time. It's called Lone Star Bar. That is Rick Vavro, his team over at Austin Underground. Thank you, Rick, very much.
Well, as I said, gentlemen, we have time for just a couple more questions here. And we're going to take this one from Ryan. He says, OTF, what do you think is going to be the hardest to replace from last season?
It's Barron.
I think Alfred Collins or Jade Barron.
Barron.
You think Barron? I could be persuaded a couple different ways.
Barron made so many just flat out instinctive plays that maybe wasn't even he was supposed to be in on the play. Yeah. That's guys fair. Are so hard to replace.
Yeah.
You know,
really smart players.
The pick he had against Colorado State. I know the game wasn't in the balance, but just plays like it's the reason he's going to be drafted high. It's the plays he makes that are just so instinctive, or the guy lives in a film room. I mean, Earl Thomas made a lot of those plays.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know, I'll never forget. I've told the story before. I was talking to Will Muschamp, who's at Texas, and he was like, first guy in the film room, the last one that leaves, the guy that's a red shirt, and Earl Thomas. I was like, well, that's a good note to put away.
Yeah. Yeah, in that regard, I'm not so sure that Andrew Makuba isn't part of that question mark too.
Made a lot of instinctive plays.
Yeah, a lot of instinctive play. I mean, that pick he made against Georgia in Austin, Jerry, and it was as impressive as Barron's pick against Colorado State.
Yeah,
I mean, just turned and ran to the spot like he knew the play. You know, that just doesn't happen. People don't like. I'll give you an example. Everybody's really high on the South Carolina safety, Nick Emmanuel-Wari or whatever. Yeah. Really good player.
Very good.
Okay, not as instinctive as those two.
Yeah,
and so I feel like that's a really good question. Thanks for the question, because it obviously clearly made us think pretty heavily.
And then let's see here. Our next question, fellas, is going to come from BB. Is Anthony Hill going to be a first-round pick?
That's a really good question. I think it's going to depend on what they see him as, Bobby. It is if they see him as more of a downhill pass rusher in a scheme, I think absolutely. Is he a first round player in coverage so far in his linebacking career at Texas? And I think that remains to be seen next year. If he makes a jump there, no doubt. I think there's no doubt.
He ends it with 8 sacks. He's in the first round.
Should be.
Because he will be seen as that new kind of linebacker that everybody's going gaga over Micah Parsons right now. Everybody is. And for good reason. Great player, right?
Yeah.
They want the guy that can get after the quarterback and handle the middle. Well, if Anthony Hill can do it, Rod Babers had a tremendous stat. Of the times that Anthony Hill went after the quarterback, Jerry, he was successful 37% of the time last year. That is a phenomenal number for anybody. Okay? So to Rod's point, that's exactly what these pro guys may be looking for. The question I have is, will he be good enough as a true linebacker to get a first-round grade? I think if he were just a rusher, there might be an opportunity, but he's got to be able to do both. And I think he needs to amp that part of his game up or level up that part of his game to actually make it into the first round. I'd like to know what other people think of that, because I think theoretically he clearly athletically is in that category.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt.
That level of player.
Right.
I don't know. Because there's only going to be 2 or 3 linebackers taken in the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, so you look at next year. Here's your guys next year as of right now. Anthony Hill, Raylan Wilson at Georgia, really good. He's going to test extremely well. Drake Bowen at Notre Dame, a really good player. Deontay Lawson at Alabama, really, really good player. Look, David Bailey. I mean, throw your tortillas. David Bailey. Lander Barton at Utah is really good. And another guy off the edge who can really get after the quarterback is Suntarine Perkins. And that may be Perkins may be who he's kind of competing against next year in a weird way come NFL draft time.
That's the guy at Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, because they're very similar players. And Perkins, what do you have, 10 and a half sacks last year?
Yeah.
So both of those guys are probably all these guys. Look at what they've done to Kelvin Banks. All they're doing is looking for warts. So is Anthony Hill a first round pick level player? Absolutely, he is. If he, as we talked about it, if he gets a little better in pass coverage recognition, he's a no brainer.
Okay.
All right, Joel, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by Rick Valbro and Austin Underground. I want to thank them, along with Prize Picks, Mint Mobile, Mando, and Gooder, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in. The great questions, the super chats. Don't forget, we can't be on here all the time, so head on over to ontexasfootball.com to further the discussion. Join in on the great community that is over there. If you're not a member, become one. Use promo code OTFOG and lock in an annual subscription for just $49.95 for the year. Again, that's only with promo code OTFOG at ontexasfootball.com. And Bobby, what's coming down the pipe later today?
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry and CJ going to get together for a little recruiting breakdown based on some things that they heard over the weekend. Maybe talk a little portal recruiting as well. Then we have another live stream tonight around 7 o'clock. Rod Babers, Jeff Howe get together along with our friend Aaron Hogan. And we've got news and notes dropping all the time. Please join us on the message boards, by the way. We've built a good community over there and continue to ask for more people to join us and just come talk Longhorn football with us or sports. I also want to say a special thank you, by the way, to Bob Bowman, the Texas men's swimming and diving coach, for joining us today. He was a real delight. I think he was just a nice guy, clearly has a vision for where he wants to take Texas swimming and diving. And sounds like if they're getting the top 2 guys in the portal, Texas may be getting ready to go on a run in swimming and diving, similar to what they did under Eddie Reese. So good stuff there.
We'll also have KJ Edwards' interview from yesterday coming up today as well.
There you go. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live, post content, whatever it may be. That way you don't miss it. We got you covered between that and on TexasFootball.com. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll have Tony Heels on with us, Hump Day with Heels. So be sure to be back for that one too. Well, hope you all have a great day. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll